When I bought my laser cutter, I realized that there isn't a widely available collection of designs out there. So I figured I'd have to design most things from scratch. However, this isn't always the case. In this video, I'll show you how I use boxes.py to create custom parts. We'll start with the basics and then explore how to modify designs in various ways. As always, all the files I'm using are available for free. Boxes.py is a free, open source file generator. Despite its name, it's not just for boxes. It has a variety of generators to choose from. Let's start with a practical example. I have a messy drawer in my shop, so I'll make a tray using the tray layout. The interface might seem intimidating at first, but we'll take it slow. First, let's define the dimensions. I want the tray to have 4 compartments in a 2x2 grid. My drawer is 37 cm long, 27 cm wide, and 7 cm tall. So the tray dimensions Sx, Sy, and H should be smaller or equal to these values. I'll set the tray height to be significantly smaller than the drawer height, but I'll keep Sx and Sy fairly tight so the tray fits snugly and doesn't move around when I open or close the drawer. Next, we can set the material thickness and the burn or kerf offset. I set the kerf to 0 because I'll compensate for it in Lightburn, but if your software doesn't handle that, you can set it here. I also set the reference to 0 since I don't need it. This feature creates a rectangle of a set length for reference. Before exporting, we can view the design by clicking Generate. If we want to make changes, we can do so. For instance, if you prefer sparser joints, you can increase the spacing between them. Once you are happy with the design, you can download it in various formats. I recommend SVG because it maintains scale. Now let's hop into Lightburn to finalize the layout. I like to minimize material usage, so I rearrange the parts. Before cutting, I always frame the job to double check the positioning. Now we press start and wait. Assembly is straightforward in this case, so I won't spend too much time on it. Just press the parts together and you're done. The final result is exactly what I needed to tidy up my drawer, and it fits perfectly. Now that we've covered a simple example, let's move on to more advanced uses. Basically, I use boxes.py to cut most of the design time. I think of something that I want to make and then look for a roughly similar generator to start with. Let's consider this pencil case with a decorated sliding lid. I've made a roll-top pencil case using boxes.py before, but this one is different. This design is based on the card box generator. I set the width, height, and length to the desired size. By default, the card box comes with several compartments, but we only need one, so I adjusted that. After setting the kerf, material thickness, and joint density, I downloaded the design. Finally, I modified the design in Lightburn. The card box has inner slabs designed to make pulling out cards easier, but we don't need those. Problem is, they also serve as rails for the sliding lid, so I replaced them with thin rectangles. At this point, you could cut a plain pencil case with a sliding lid, but I wanted to add some decorations. I selected the lid and noted its dimensions. I wanted to make sure my design is away from the edges that will be hidden by the rails. Since I'm using 3mm plywood, I drew a rectangle 3mm smaller than the outer frame. Now, you can design anything you like within this inner frame using Lightburn, Inkscape, or any CAD software. I made 2 designs, one with random lines and one with a honeycomb pattern. To give the pencil box a fancier look, I painted the plywood using a mix of black and orange watercolors. The result looks a bit like walnut, but it's still easy to cut through. Now we can go ahead and cut the design. In this case, assembly is slightly more involved. Start by attaching the upper lips to the side faces. This will form part of the sliding lid rails. Next, assemble the 4 outer faces of the box. You can either glue the joints or ensure they are tight based on your curve settings. Make sure that these 4 faces are square. For the lid, attach the lip to its edge. Now flip the box so that the lips are resting on the table and slide the lid into place. Then, apply glue to the bottom part of the rails, the thin rectangles we designed, and put them in place while ensuring that you don't get glue on the sliding surface. Once the rails are positioned, remove the sliding lid to make sure it doesn't get glued in place, and wait for the glue to dry. After the rails are done, it's time to attach the bottom side of the box. I applied some glue and put it in place. To finish, I sanded the edges of the lid and then applied some candle wax to ensure it slides smoothly. That's it, the pencil case is ready. I'm not sure which version I like more, the one with the random pattern or the one with the honeycomb pattern. In any case, you can find both designs in the description below. I also made a similar box for my wife's earrings, which really elevated her birthday gift. This really shows the power of using boxes.py. I just resized the box using the generator and made a few changes, and within 5 minutes I had a new design ready. The last example I'll show you is a shade for a wall-mounted lamp. I wanted to make a tapered lampshade to fit this nice looking Edison bulb. I picked the regular box generator, which creates boxes with a polygon as base. I set the number of sides to 7 and the height to 180 mm. For a tapered lampshade, I needed the top radius to be different from the bottom one. I set them to fit the specific wall-mounted lamp I had. I also made sure that the top has no lid and that the bottom is closed. I then set the material thickness to 6 mm and downloaded the design. I then modified the basic design in Lightburn. I added a hole to the base of the box so I could thread it over the lamp. I wanted the lampshade to transmit more light, so I drew a parallelogram and placed it over one of the sides. Finally, I duplicated the modified side and cut the parts. I bought this wall-mounted lamp a while ago and I've been waiting to use it. I took it apart so I could piece together the lampshade over it and started assembling. I threaded the lampshade through the base and attached the sides to it one by one. You could add some glue if needed. In this case, assembly turned out to be pretty annoying, but it didn't take too long. Finally, after some cleaning and sanding, I mounted it onto the wall, screwed in the Edison bulb, and turned it on. I love how it ended up looking. It has a warm and rustic look that I really appreciate. Like the previous example, designing this lampshade took me probably less than 10 minutes from start to finish. This is why boxes.py is so useful. That's all for today. I hope my video inspired you to make something of your own. If you want to see more projects and tutorials, feel free to visit my channel. See you soon!